Hi, my name is Andrea and welcome to my reading room. So, I haven't uploaded anything in quite a while, some before August, I believe, and I come to the conclusion that this TBR game, uploading that every month, doesn't work out that well for me. I don't like having to make a video for the beginning of each month. It feels like I'm limited to each month, so I'm just going to film videos that are not that restricted to a specific month or so, and well, just put them up when they're done, and we'll see how that goes so far. So for this video I'm going to do a book haul because I visited my brother in Gothenburg, and since I was there I took the opportunity to visit my favorite store, which is the Sci-Fi bookstore, Sci-Fi Bokhandeln, and I got quite a haul. It was not the only place I went to. I went to the English book shop next door, and I did find at least one book there, so that is also included. So let's get right back to it, right into it. And the first one I've already read, and this is The Sight by Neil Schusterman, and this is the collector's edition. I had no idea this was a thing before I saw it on the shelf, and I'm so happy. They only had 2 left, so I grabbed the least damaged one. It got like some injuries, but if you don't look close enough, it looks perfect. And I'm really happy to have this, and when or if they get to make this edition of the other 2, I'm going to get those, especially since I don't have the second book at all. But I will probably reread this series in this edition as well when they all get out, if we get collector's editions for all of them, which I would think is likely, because who makes a collector's edition with only the first book? None come to mind at least, so I hope to get to this one. And if you haven't read this one, I do recommend it. It's about this future world where we have conquered death, so no one dies, and because of overpopulation they invent this system where this order of sights, they are called, goes and kill people, and those people don't come back, which you do if you're not killed by a sight, then you get to come back. So I'm not sure I've explained it enough, but I really enjoyed the series, so I do recommend it, which is probably why I got a collector's edition, because I never gotten that for a book except Lord of the Rings, maybe, if you can call the illustrated edition a special edition. Let's see. And I'm not counting the Kickstarter books as a special edition, because I got a few of those, mostly for books I haven't read. But next book I got was this one, 1632, and this is the first book in the series called Ring of Fire. It's an alternate history, and I've seen this series on this bookshop for a while now, and I got kind of intrigued by the cover, and now when I visited, they finally had the first book. They didn't last time I was there, so I picked it up. And as I understand it, it's about a modern American town getting kind of misplaced into the 30 Years War in Europe, and it goes off from there. So I'm really interested to see what can happen in this scenario. We'll see. Next is the cats we meet along the way by Nadia Mikhail. So I apologize, but I was drawn to this by the title because it made me think about my best friend. She loves cats, and I do really like the cover of this as well. I have not heard anything about it. I haven't seen it anywhere else, so I don't know what people think about it, and I'm going to do my best to not look it up as well until after I've read it. And this I have to refresh myself. It's about this girl who goes on a road trip with her boyfriend and his parents. It's while trying to deal with her missing sister, I guess. It does sound like a contemporary, but it was in the sci-fi section, so we'll see what happens with that, because I doubt it was misplaced, but we'll see. I get to know whenever I read it. And the first book I picked up when I went into the store was this, The Scholar's Wake, by Aliette de Bodard. And I've been, well, having my eyes on this since last year, and I finally found it on the shelf when I went in there, so I picked it up immediately. I don't recall what it's about, so give me a minute. Okay, I think I got this. There is this robot maker, bot maker, that is on a ship that gets attacked by space pirates, and then gets roped into an arranged marriage with the captain of the space pirates that attack them. So, and I'm pretty sure it's a lesbian romance. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't have a lot of lesbian romance on my shelf, and this is sci-fi, and it looks really good. So we'll see when I get to this. Then the newest book, I believe it's the newest I have on my list, is Sarah. And this one is about people with special powers that are hunted because of it's implied they turn into monsters that plagues the people. That's what I recall about the backside and the synopsis of this book. And the main character do have these powers and gets roped into figuring out what are making people into these monsters, I guess. I prefer to go into most of it blind, and when I read the backside of this, I was hesitant if I would like it, because it's sounds kind of generic for fantasy, at least to me. But I like the cover, so I'm going to give it a chance. So hopefully the cover matches what it contains, and it falls into my palette. The next book I have is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. And this is a romance fantasy. It's about the witch, some somehow gets roped into fake dating, and even the title kind of says it all. And that's about all I recall about this book. But it was one of 2 fantasy romance books that I had on my list, so I got it because was the only one they had that I can find. So I'm looking forward to getting down and reading this one for October maybe, because it's a witch and a demon, and well, it's probably not going to be as heavy as some other fantasy, so it will be a nice break. And last book I got at the sci-fi bookstore was Before We Say Goodbye by Toshigasu Kawaguchi, and this is the 4th installment in Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and this marks I have all the books finally, so I only need to read this one to be caught up again. And from Goodreads, I believe there's another one out that I have to wait for it to get translated. So I have something more to look forward to after this, because I'm sure they're going to continue translating them. I'm just in love with this. I already started it, so this one will be the first of all these books to be read, with the exception of the first one, which I already read, but you get my point. So, and I'm not sure if you haven't read this series, I do recommend it. Read it in order, I guess. If you don't care about being spoiled for some of the things that goes over, you can read whichever one you want. It kind of works that way, but the way you get to know things are going to be different depending. But this is about this cafe that you can visit and travel back in time, but they got some rules. For example, that you have to sit in a specific place and you can't leave your chair, which means you can only travel back in time and meet people that have been to the cafe. So it's restricted, and you can't change anything about what's happening now. So you can't go back and change anything. The only thing that's changed is the emotions or your thoughts about it, emotional state and such. And each of these books are like 4 individual instances of people going back in time for each book, and they all got their specific their own reasons for going back and their own stories behind it. And some of them, especially those from the first book, are reoccurring. So one of the people that goes back in time in the first book are in the other books, even in this one, by name, and it's mentioned that they went back. So that's why you probably should read them in order, but they don't go into too much detail for those things. So if you really wanted to just jump into book 3 or 4, you probably could. I believe book 3 is about another cafe with the same power set, and only some overcrossing characters, but this one is in the same cafe as the first 2. So I'm looking forward to getting to this one. It's probably one of my favorite series. And the last book that I got when I went to the English bookshop, that's the name of it. is the album by Mary Robert Rinehart, and I got this from the section for historical mystery. I started to read a little more Agatha Christie, and I really like Sherlock Holmes. I don't like modern mysteries as much, so I picked up this one because I believe historical mysteries are more like my thing, and this one was the one on display, so that's the one I picked. It's about a woman, a bed-bound woman that gets killed, and it gets depressed and all to kind of investigate the neighborhood and all the particular people that live there where the woman was murdered. I believe murdered, and a lot of secrets get uncovered. At least that's what I got from the synopsis of this book. So I'm looking forward to see where it goes. It's rather thick, so we'll see. Plus I really liked the cover, of course. So I like this, and we'll see if I'm right that his historical mystery is really my thing, because then I know exactly where to go to the next time I'm in Gothenburg, because I have a whole section there just to discover. So those are all the books. I did get a new book from the local library, so I probably should include that one as well. Wait a minute. From book. And that book was this. The Kingdom is a Golden Cage. And I'm not sure if the font is supposed to be this distressed or if it's damaged. I will probably have to look that up. But this, of all the books I've gotten from the local library, seems to be the one I'm least going to like. So it will be interesting when I finally get to this one, because I'm just going to read the flap here. Once upon a time, there was a princess locked in a tower, forced to bend to her father's will. But Celine is no ordinary princess, and she has no intention of being a damsel in distress. Celine has a lover, Hugo, whose cunning plan to rescue her is tied up in his own ambition to reclaim the lands and title that are his birthright. If only they can break the spell that binds him to the body of a cat, they will free the kingdom from the grasp of the cruel witch and live happily ever after. The Bound to a Cat is interesting, I give it that. Here it continues. For the plan to succeed, they must rely on Hugo's cousin, Philippe, to whom Celine must tether herself until Hugo can reclaim his birthright. It's a risk to trust him, but it soon becomes clear that this is the least of their problems, because this is a land of shapeshifters, magic and illusion, where nothing is as it seems, even the truth. So it's intriguing. I'm not sure it's really my cup of tea, but we'll see when I get to this one. Now I'm going to... But regardless, these books are really pretty. I love the stencil edges. And the naked hardback is not that bad either. Let's see. Then I also course got the first Ugandan Nightmare Painter. I haven't opened the plastic for this or the second one. The only one I've opened is Tess of the Emerald Sea because I'm currently reading that one. But I'm looking forward to getting to this one because this one and Tess was the two I was most looking forward to. So I really hope I like them both. I'm liking Tess the Emerald Sea so far, so it's promising. This we'll see. And that's about all. Please tell me if you got any new books recently and if you when you plan to read them, or have you already managed to read them directly after buying them. I don't know how you manage, but I wish I could do that. But I hope you have a good day and keep on reading. Bye.